Elizabeth Chappell, a lifelong entrepreneur who finally found my niche. After years of new ideas and jumping from business to business, I figured out how to turn a craft into a successful career. In 2016, I started a monthly subscription box for quilters. That little startup has grown into a thriving, multiple six-figure business that I am so proud of. As a published author, designer of fabrics and patterns being sold throughout the world, my favorite thing to do is to teach others how to grow a career of their dreams. Each week, you'll hear from me or from other guests who are creative entrepreneurs, so you can learn exactly what to do and what not to do to grow a career that's more rewarding and successful than you ever thought possible. If you're ready to turn your craft into a career that you love, I am so excited you're here. Welcome to the Craft to Career podcast. Listeners, you are in for a treat today. We have Mim Jenkinson, who is a sticker creator. She teaches people how to make stickers. And what I love about her business, first of all, she's in the crafting space with stickers. So the average person would not think that you could earn much money doing this. However, recently I saw on Instagram that she was talking with Alex Hermosi, and she said, I earn $1 million plus US dollars a year. And that stopped me in my tracks. I was like, wait a minute. First, what stopped me in my tracks was Alex Hermosi saying, you're a what? A crafter? And I was like, oh, ding, 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 listen up. And then when I saw who it was, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been following Mim for years. So I reached out and said, would you please come on the Craft to Career podcast? Because listeners, this is the kind of business that is so unsuspecting, but also shows us what is possible. Success leaves clues. When someone has success, they're doing certain things. Now, every business is a little different. There's not just one right way to do it. But when you study enough businesses like we do on this podcast, you start to see some trends. You start to see some similarities. And Mim shares some really great insights into what has helped her grow and scale her business. So at the end, we're going to recap what some of those things are, and maybe you'll notice some things that I didn't even notice. But let's dive in and let's meet Mim Jenkinson. Mim, thank you so much for being here on the Craft to Career podcast. For our listeners, can you introduce who you are and what you do in the crafting community?
I will. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to talk to you all today. I got started 10 years ago. I call myself a bit of an accidental crafter because I hadn't done crafts for such a long time. But I got started teaching people how to make stickers. And now I've taught over 20,000 crafters from all over the world to make their own stickers too. So I get to play with stickers and talk about stickers every single day.
How did you stumble on this? Like as an accidental, rewind like 10 years ago, how did this begin?
It is crazy. So it started from quite a dark place. And I think that I'm sure that people can relate that crafting and creativity and art often helps us during times that are difficult in our lives, especially with our mental health and health. So 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And at the time, I had a 6-month-old baby and a 2-year-old daughter. And we just thought, we've got the whole rest of our lives ahead of us. We just moved to a new place and we were like looking for our forever home. And then I got diagnosed out of nowhere. So I had to leave the job that I was in so that I could undergo chemotherapy and radiation, which was incredibly difficult. I was at home. I had my husband, thankfully, and my parents to support me, but I needed something to kind of take my mind off the chemo, the radiation, the fear of everything that I was going through. And I was looking for a project, and that project became teaching myself how to make stickers. So I'd been using them already. I know podcast listeners can't see, but I'm showing you my planner full of stickers. I'd been using them myself, and I knew that I could make them, but I had no idea what I needed, if it needed to be expensive, how to get started. But that became my project. I decided to make stickers. I taught myself to make them. I got some help from the fantastic community as well. And then I thought, well, why not try and sell them on Etsy? I see others are selling them. I'm buying stickers. So in a few months, I went from knowing nothing to having this shop on Etsy that ended up taking off really well in the beginning. And then I started getting questions of, how are you making them? What are you using? So I had this knowledge. I wanted to share it. And I put together my very first course too. And now 10 years on, here we are. So that's how things started. I never returned to work for somebody else, which was a great job, but I always wanted to work for myself. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I definitely didn't think it would be about stickers, but here we are. So as I say to my students and members, you never know where your sticker making adventure will take you. You literally just never know.
It is so true. And I mean, your business started from a really personal place, making stickers while you're going through chemotherapy and radiation. So how did that Etsy shop, why, if you had to remember, what helped that to take off? You said it really took off.
Really good question. So I'd been blogging for a few years. I started out as a mummy blogger back in the day online. So I knew somewhat about building a brand online, building a presence online. I had an email list. However, no one on that list was the right kind of customer for me. It isn't that I already had everything in place for the Etsy shop to be successful. So whilst it was starting from scratch in many ways, at least I had a bit of an understanding about what I would need to do to be successful. So Etsy's a great place, of course, where, as we all know, people are already coming to Etsy every day to buy things. So as long as we're listing our products in the right way and our products are good and the imagery and the words and everything's compelling, it will find the right buyer. But it takes more than just listing a product on Etsy, doesn't it, to then have sales rolling in. So I started to, think, how can I start to build, a base of customers who would be interested in what I've got to sell, not just now, but in the future too. And I did it bit by bit. So it was listing products on Etsy. And then every time a customer did purchase from me, actually interacting with them, having a conversation, not just to encourage reviews, but also to find out how they were finding the products, what else they were looking for. I was researching to see how other people were having success on Etsy. What were they selling? Not to think, all right, I'll do exactly the same thing, but what are they selling and why is it successful? I always look at everything a bit like a science experiment. So I don't really tend to go for what's trending. I'm too tired and old to really work that quickly to constantly jump on the next trend. But it gave me a good understanding of people are not just buying stickers because they're pretty and they want to decorate their planner or their life or their home. It's fulfilling a need. And what is that need? And is it solving a problem or a challenge, or is it making their life funner or easier, or is it helping them make money or save money? So that's kind of how I had success in the beginning. Really, first of all, just giving things a go. And every time I made a sticker for myself, listing it on Etsy to see how it went, and then recognizing what was doing well for me, what was doing well for others, and how can I then start to think a bit more with intention when I start to make my next products, so that they do have people who want to buy them. So it takes some time for sure. And I will say too, something that I think often people don't share is that when I got started, I was certainly not the first person to sell stickers on Etsy, but it definitely was less competitive back then. Now the amount of sticker shops on Etsy is blown up hugely. And that does not mean that people cannot still have success at all in any way. But again, you have to be really considered and intentional with what you're doing. So I think with a combination of my previous experience with being online and having marketing experience, and then just putting that intention behind what I was making really helped.
Yeah. So what was your job before you left your career?
I've had so many because I'm 47. So many jobs. I worked in recruitment and HR for 10 years, which you wouldn't think would help in any way with an online business, but it really has, especially because recruitment is very sales focused and people focused, and really like digging into things like numbers and data, as well as that interpersonal connection with people too. I also had worked in events too for a cancer charity, for Cancer Council in Australia, which is amazing. I also had worked, mainly most of my jobs had kind of some element of sales or marketing, even if it wasn't the biggest part of the role that I was doing. So I've done quite a few things. I won't list all of them, but I've sold many different things. And all of that experience has definitely helped, but in kind of indirect ways sometimes, Funnily enough, my experience in HR and recruitment has really helped me to coach others with hiring, but not so much myself. I definitely need to outsource more. So that's something I'm working on.
Okay. Because there is a big leap. I mean, you talked about how this business has grown. There's a big leap from selling your own stickers to teaching 20,000 plus people how to make
Right.
them. So, what made you decide your business was actually about teaching and not just selling the stickers?
Yeah, it was. You hear this all the time of people were asking me, so I put together a course, and that's literally what happened. I was getting constant questions of, how are you making them? How did you print them? I'm having this, mainly it was like, I'm having trouble with cutting my stickers and what tools do I need? So tools in terms of, I mean, making stickers, you really need very little stuff. So a computer or a laptop, a cutting machine is awesome, like a Cricut or a Silhouette or a Scan and Cut. There are so many others. But then I also had a lot of customers who, when they were buying my printable stickers, were cutting them with scissors anyway. So it was things like that. Now, in the beginning with my Etsy shop, I was selling printed stickers. So I was printing them, cutting them, going to the post office. I loved that so much. And I think that was the first maybe 2.5 years-ish. So the questions that I was getting then was about, I want to do this too. How did you get started? Or if I'm making them myself, what's the sticker paper that you're using? Because I love it. Where did you get it from? And I know there's quite a lot of gatekeeping about things like tools and paper, like it's the secret sauce and there's not enough for everyone, but there is.
Yes.
So it was like, what printer are you using? What sticker paper are you using? And then it was, if I want to sell too, how do I get started? And I was answering the same questions over and over again. It just made sense to put something together. And I had put together some digital products before. They hadn't sold hugely, but at least I'd had that experience previously with being able to put together a course or an ebook or even just a PDF. So that was something that wasn't challenging to me. And then when I worked in HR, I also had training experience too. So teaching always felt like a big part of like many of the roles that I'd done. And even though it wasn't online, it was still linked.
Yeah. This all makes sense. And there was an actual need. That's something that I see. Like there were actually people, because I think sometimes people create a course thinking people will want this, but you had a need that people were actually asking. And so you were like, okay, people keep asking, let me solve this. I'm curious, what platform do you use to teach your course?
Oh, I use two. I use Kajabi and I also have School, but School is mainly for not teaching. That's mainly where I sell my printable stickers now. So after a couple of years, I moved to selling printables. My life got so busy with then returning to now my job as like in my own business as my full-time job after treatment had finished that I just couldn't do the trips to the post office and the printing and cutting anymore. I really miss those days often though. So Kajabi is the main platform that I teach on. I have my Secret Sticker Society membership and that's on Kajabi. So the portal is very beautiful and all set up on there. And then most of my courses and ebooks and other downloads are on that platform too.
Nice. So, okay, I've been following you for years. And then recently, I follow Alex Hermosi. I saw you pop up on his Instagram and you mentioned earning over $1 million. First of all, I loved it. He was like, a what? A crafter? I was like, oh, sweet. Let's talk about it.
Surely I'm the first crafter that ever went on Alex's anything.
Yet to be, yet,
Oh,
many more to come.
The first of many. Yeah, totally.
But I love the mind blow, of like, what? Crafter million. But okay, Let's talk about that because so many, including women who are crafters, quilters, they have this idea that you must be a starving artist. If you're going to earn money, it's impossible or I don't know. So how are you doing it? Honestly, Alex is not alone in being like, I'm sorry, you're earning how much with stickers? Like,
yeah.
So how are you doing it? What are the different revenue streams? And are you totally busy? Are you like way too tired?
If you had have asked me that last question a couple of years ago, I would have said no. The balance I've got now is the best I've ever had. Now it's a different answer. So I'll probably shed more about that too. But first of all, it's been 10 years in the making. So definitely haven't ever had any kind of overnight success. I haven't even gone viral. Like I've never had anything fun happen like that.
Which I love that, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to go viral, right?
Yeah, you don't have to. It would just be nice for funsies more than anything, but I've never had anything like that. But it has been 10 years of pure dedication and building and iterating and looking at the data and working hard. And and finding the right people to help me as well, Alex being one of them. But I invest so much myself in terms of education, coaching, support. If you looked at my expenses, the vast majority of it would be going towards training, research, courses, one-to-one or group coaching. I travel to the US now. It feels like every month to go to some kind of event or training thing, which from Australia is a long way, but it's so fun. So that has really helped me in terms of being able to grow. Also, really, and I know that this is something that not just Alex, but many people will share in terms of having more success. It's been simplifying everything I do. So whether it's the ADHD or just the pure enjoyment of wanting to create new things and help as many people with as many things as possible, I have really refined over the years what I've done and what I've focused on. So when I first got started, it was even not just in the stickers space. When I was blogging, it was like the mummy blogger stuff, but with a focus mainly on planning and paper planners, which is my joy alongside stickers. So really, as I've gone along over the years, it's been doing less in terms of not creating a new product every single week. Really, Secret Sticker Society has become like the main place, the main hub where my people are going to get everything they need for everything relating to stickers. So I do have other things. I run events. I have other smaller, they're all kind of low cost, low price digital products. But the membership is the main thing that I focus on. I also have a fantastic Printable Stickers Club membership on School as well. And they're like my two places that anything that you want about stickers, either one or both of those two places are the home for you. So that's for sure helped. In terms of the revenue that I make, it's a huge mix across everything. It's definitely mainly focused on the education products. I would never want anyone to think I'm sitting on top of $1 million sticker shop. I am not. That would be fantastic, but I'm certainly not. So I really have a good amount of revenue coming in from stickers, either from the membership or the sticker sales on my website or my Etsy shop. But let's not pretend it's 7 figures. And then I also do some online business coaching. I know we spoke about this in the beginning. So it's a passion project that I really like to share, because in the 10 years that I've built up such a lot of experience and knowledge and things that have worked and haven't. And again, I get asked so many questions and I want to share everything, but it is intentionally a really small space where I only have a very small number. It's really intimate community of online business owners who need support and want help. That is not something that takes up too much in terms of my time, but it's definitely one of my most enjoyable places to go every week. So it's been a combination of refining what I'm doing, again, focusing on solving a problem. What do people actually need help with, and what can I create for them, rather than let's just create everything and see which one works. Working hard, constantly optimizing what I'm doing and trying to improve. And then just going back to the hours in terms of everything that I put into this and how tired I am. I'm really tired right now. So I am definitely working a lot more right now than I ever have been before. Like I say, a couple of years ago, that answer would not have been the same. But right now I'm in this position where I need to hire. I've had really steady growth over the years. I haven't had any big spikes at all. I mean, there've been big spikes, but it hasn't been that I went from 6 figures to 7 figures overnight. That certainly didn't happen. So it's been growth that I have adjusted to as I've gone. But at the same time, I think I probably should have hired for a couple of roles a couple of years ago. So playing a bit of catch up, definitely working a little bit more than I would like. But at the same time, it's stickers. So, it's okay. It's fine. It really is my passion and my work and my everything. Yeah. Aside from my family, it's just stickers.
Yes. Well, and it sounds like I'm similar with you in this way. I love the business. It's almost like, and I don't mean this in a callous way, but a game, like you figure out how can...
It really is.
Actually, I do want to go back to, you talked about looking at the data. Okay, I just finished working with an amazing coach, Nicole of Gardneri. She's a gardener, and she really helped me start looking at the data, at the numbers, and that was game changing. So what kind of data are you looking at? What's been the most helpful for you? What do you keep track of?
Oh, wow. I track everything. So data is it's like one of my love languages. I feel, the whole, are you right brain or left brain? I do feel like I'm 50-50 of both, because I find, when you said about finding like the business being quite a game, it is. I find equal joy in creation and design of stickers or any other art as I do with looking at the numbers and working them out. The whole thing is like this super fun game and science experiment, and I track almost everything. I think there are things that I could certainly track even more, but I know that tracking numbers, looking at the numbers, understanding them, and then being able to use that data to make improvements or make changes to grow the business, and to maybe even just to stop wasting time or wasting money too. It's really important to me. It's important to me to help other people, especially female business owners, because of course, that's my passion too, but to help them as well with that, because I think I made the assumption that everyone tracked their data. And then I quickly realized when I started joining other coaching programs that really nobody was, or very few people. And it blew my mind a little bit, because not only did they not love it as much as I did, they just were not even tracking it at all. So it's something that I really look forward to every single month. So at the start of every month, I'm updating all of my trackers, and I'm looking at the data from everything that happened the previous month. So, of course, the obvious things like in terms of revenue or new members, but also with my membership, how many members are staying, how many are cancelling, what's the data telling me about why they might be cancelling, what are we looking at in terms of growth and promotions, how are they working. I spend a lot of time and a lot of money on advertising. In fact, that's my biggest expense, I would say. And I'm always looking at getting a better return on the investment of everything, especially things like ads. Of course, I'm looking at things like social media and what's happening there in terms of growth, or is it in line with the goals that I'm setting? But if there's a number that can be tracked, I'm probably tracking it, or will be.
I love that. I actually love it. Let me rephrase that. I don't love tracking, but I like what it does for my business, because it removes
Completely.
the emotion. It's
Yeah.
not like, oh, how's this going to do? You know exactly how it's going to do. And if you post this many times, or if you email this many people, it will convert at 2%. And it's a matter of plug and play. It's just numbers, and
It totally is. It totally, and like you say, exactly like you said, it does remove the emotion from it, so that, if it's just a given that we all in business want to make sales. It's what we're here for. It's, the business isn't a business without sales and profit. So that's a given. But at the same time, we want the goals to be meaningful that we're setting with any goals, numbers related. But we want to be able to look at that data and not look at a number and then deem ourselves a failure, or lose interest, or, go into procrastination mode, or not have an idea about why something isn't tracking. So I've always been really into the numbers, and it's something that I really encourage other people to focus on too. And you will learn to love it. You'll learn to become a bit obsessed with it. It is really one of those things that the more you know, the better decisions that you make, the better your business does, the better and more in control that you feel. And it becomes one of the fun parts of the month, rather than something that's been on your to-do list that you should do, but you're avoiding it. And then these days with AI, a lot of those numbers can be automatically updated and tracked too. So it really is just getting so much easier.
It is. Well, and like you said, that failure, I know a lot of my students and listeners, if something doesn't go well, and by that I mean, let's say they have a new quilt pattern and they sell one or none or whatever. The default generally is nobody wanted the pattern. I didn't do a good job, but the numbers don't lie. And you can just look at the numbers and realize which piece of the puzzle do we need to fix. And it's generally not that it wasn't a good pattern. I mean, once in a while, but generally it's not that. So
it's so true. It's so true. When you look at the numbers of why hasn't this sold on Etsy, and then you're like, well, 5 people got to the page. We can definitely easily see when you've got the numbers in black and white, where are things falling down, what can be improved. And then tiny tweaks with all of these different numbers, or the meaningful ones, can actually have such a big knock-on effect, can't they, at the end?
I also want to dive into, you mentioned your trainings and coaches. Who are some people that you've worked with? And obviously you love it, but I would love to hear more. What are your biggest takeaways? Who have you loved working with? But let's dive into that.
Who haven't I worked with? If there's a course or a program, Mim's signing up for it. Who am I working with now? So I'm in Alex Hormozzi's group. I joined his group in I can't remember, at some point in 2025. And so I'm in his school community, which is amazing. I'm also in Amy Porterfield's Made to Scale Mastermind. So I've been in that mastermind since 2025 as well. I love Amy. I followed Amy for years, but I only found out about her after I'd already had success with my courses. So I hadn't bought her at the time Digital Course Academy because I felt like it was too late for me. So I was like, why isn't she doing anything like, like bigger? Why? And then when she did, I was like, okay, well, I can't complain about her not doing anything and then not sign up. So I joined Amy's Millie Club first of all, did a couple of cohorts, and then joined her Made to Scale Mastermind last year. I also work with Rick Mulready. I don't know whether you know Rick, but for anything AI related, Rick Mulready is the best person. I also worked with him one-to-one as a business coach too. So the great thing about Rick is that he isn't only AI focused. His membership is AI focused, but his background is really as a generalist too in online business. So whilst he doesn't offer generalist online business coaching anymore, I find that because everything he's bringing into his AI teachings or tools or automations, because he's got that previous background, it's so much less about do this new thing just because you can with AI, and so much more about how this is going to optimize your business, save you time, save you money, make you more, grow things. It isn't going to just send you down as Marisa Cummings says, what does she say, a squirrel, the shiny squirrel syndrome, rabbit hole, which I think a lot of people are doing in AI at the moment. So Amy, Alex, Rick, I've worked with so many people and been in so many programs. Most of them have been amazing.
That's true. I'm same. Like most are amazing. And if they're not, I like to think it's still been of value, but generally it's disappointing. But generally I've gotten a really good value, and I will continue to always learn, and study.
Same.
So
I always go into anything thinking, I teach this as well when I'm doing my own events or when people are joining my programs. I only need one thing. If I get more than one thing, then that's almost a bonus. But all I need is the one thing. And what is the one thing that I need? Well, it could be something within the content that I'm learning. It could be an answer to a question that changed everything. It could be one connection. It could be something entirely different to what I think it might be. But to get a return on my investment and my time and to get the result that I'm looking for, it probably only needs to be one thing. So I'm not going in with like a wide goal of this is going to be like the silver bullet to fix everything. That would be nice, of course. But again, like going into this with like the intention of what is the area or the result that I'm looking for? Okay, be open to what is the one thing that I need to get it? And if I'm like really responsible, what can I do? What's my part to play in this to get that result too, rather than just being like a passive student or coachee or member waiting for it to come to me? That's unlikely. So yeah, just one thing. It's all we need.
It's so true. And generally speaking, the coaches or mentors that I've had, I can go back and it is one main thing that like doubled, tripled the income that I'm just like, and it's so easy, but to have someone who's on the outside looking at it and telling you, and I'm also a very dedicated student. Like if a teacher tells me to do something, I'm like, all right, I'll listen. You know more than I do, so I'll do it,
Same. I'm exactly the same as you. Like if you just give me the rules and I'll follow them all. I'm really good at rules.
To the T. Yeah, exactly. So I would like to talk with you about summits. I know you've done some summits that were free in the past and you do some paid events. I am so curious. I've never done one. I've never hosted one. People talk about them, but how do you get these amazing guests to come and be a part of a summit?
Oh, that's a really good question. So I started running summits in 2022, and then I think I've ran 5 or 6 now. I should remember that number. But pretty much 2 a year for 3 years. I'm not running any summits this year. And actually my plan is to potentially not run any more free summits either. So I'll tell you why. But before that, I'll answer your question. So when I started running them, I saw that other people in the crafting space had been running summits too. And it was still quite early on right then where I'd only seen a couple of them, but it had sparked my interest of, I wonder whether I could do this too. I mean, even before that, my friend Hannah had ran her own summit in an entirely different space. And she kept on saying to me, you need to do this, you need to do this. This will be great for the business. And, summits are a really good way to help a bigger number of people because the event is free. And it's also a really good way to, as a business owner, grow an email list of new people as well, because they join your email list as they join the summit. And then, like you said, in terms of collaborating with other people and attracting really good speakers to come to your event too, it's been really game changing in terms of the collaborations I've been able to do and the partnerships I've made. And more than that, honestly, the friendships that I've made too. So when I got started, and she'll laugh if she hears this too, but when I got started and Hannah had persuaded me to do my own summit, and I was reaching out to speakers, and I saw Abby Kirsten. I don't know whether you've seen Abby Kirsten online. She's in the Cricut space. And I said to Hannah, I want Abby to be in my summit when I run one, but I also want her to be my best friend because she's just got the most beautiful energy. She's everything that she's doing is really awesome, but she just comes across as such a really genuine, lovely person. And I want her to be my friend, and that's my goal. And I was like, okay, then go for it. So I got chatting with Abby, who said yes to being my summit speaker, which was fantastic. But we instantly bonded, and psycho stalker aside, we just had a really good connection from day one, and we had the same humor and we had the same goals, and her business is doing phenomenally well. And so we were at a really similar level in so many ways. We've both got kids. She's in the US, so completely different place in the world, but we've been friends, and we've been best friends almost instantly since then. That was a few years ago, and we met in person for the first time too last year, which was just amazing. And I've built some really good relationships with the summit speakers that I've had. So it's really daunting when you're first reaching out to people. And, I always think it's important when you're reaching out to collaborate with anyone that you try, not that you put aside the benefit that you would get from the collaboration, but that you really lead with what is in this collaboration for them and for their audience. Am I genuinely bringing value, or the potential of, the strong potential of value to them? If I'm not, that might be still okay to reach out to them, but probably not for a summit, because being a speaker in a summit is work. There's a lot of time that goes into it. There's promotion that goes into it on the speaker's part too. So I try and make the experience as easy as possible once they have said yes, they'd like to be a part of the event. But before that, when I'm pitching people, I'm really thinking about what's in it for them. And I take that really seriously. And I think that comes back from my Mimfluencer days in the mummy blogger space of when I was doing collaborations and sponsorships. This isn't just about me posting something for someone and then I'm done, clap my hands and walk off. I really focus on what is the return on their investment of time or energy or money that I can bring to them. So I've always taken that responsibility on, and it's the same thing. So focusing on what's in it for them. I want this to be a really great experience, seamless experience, and one that after we've wrapped up the summit and they've done all of their speaking and their promo, that they're really happy they've taken part and they want to take part again. And so far that's worked really well for me. I've built some amazing relationships. I've spoken then, so that when I hosted my own event and that went well, and I was attracting really good speakers to be part of that too. Then I started being asked more myself to speak at other people's events. So I still speak at other people's summits and I sponsor them. And yeah, it's been a great experience. It's definitely helped to build the business and grow it. And then, a couple of years ago, I transitioned a bit to paid events, but they're still very low cost. So it's $10 for a ticket. So we're not talking about much more than a fancy coffee.
I am curious. So, going back a little bit, what would you say would be in it for someone, like growing their email list, or I'm imagining if they have something that they're about to launch, then you could say, hey, this would be a great revenue for you to share this new thing, like a bigger audience. Is that the kind of thing you're thinking of?
It is, and it varies too. So when I'm looking for speakers for my events, I'm not necessarily just looking for people who've got the biggest email list or the biggest audience. It really is. So when I'm looking for people, I want variation. And when I am thinking about what is the value that they're going to get from it, that can be super varied too. So for example, with somebody who has a smaller business or a smaller email list, it might be that if they promote my product, they might actually make more money that month than if they were promoting their own, because they're still getting started, so that could be something for them. I've had many, many speakers where I've almost created an email list for them because they've been part of the summit and their email list has grown so much, whereas before it was very small. Many, many speakers have said that I've doubled their email list. They've got 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 new email subscribers from being part of the event too. So that can work really well for a smaller business or a smaller speaker or somebody who's a bit newer in the space. Now, if I was to think about that for somebody who already had a really big business or email list, one that probably was bigger even than my own, me saying to them, I'm going to get you a few thousand new subscribers, it might be enough for them to say yes, but it's more likely that that isn't going to quite be enough for them to dedicate the time and want to be involved in it. But there are definitely other things that will be beneficial for them. So it could be that they want to collaborate with me because they know that my audience is similar to theirs and adjacent, but it isn't quite what they're looking for or what they have built with their own audience. So it could be that it helps them branch out into a slightly different audience to then see if they're interested in their products too, which they generally would be, because I focus only on stickers. Nothing else. I'm like 100% stickers. Whereas many of the speakers that I collaborate with are more general crafters or general into the paper crafting space. So stickers would be one small element of it. So many of the people in my audience, they've already got all of the tools and equipment to be able to do all kinds of crafts. It just so happens that I don't teach anything else apart from stickers. So it can be a collaboration that will help them branch into a slightly new audience to see how that goes. It might be that we're friends and we just like to work together. Often that can be the case too as well now. It could be that their audience has been asking for help with something that they just don't teach. So it might be about stickers, and they, generally crafters know how to, or they feel that they might know how to make stickers, but they just need the specific guidance on one particular thing. And so being a part of my event means that they can help them with that solution without having to constantly, like we said before, create a new product for everything, So there's so many different reasons why, but it's really before you pitch to someone thinking about why might this be something that they want to be involved in? And at the same time, no one always says, I don't always have yeses every time I pitch. So just like everyone else, I'm ghosted or I'm told no, that's okay too. But if possible, it's finding out why, is there something that I can think about for next time I'm pitching to position things differently, or to think about, okay, no, you're right, this wouldn't be right for you, so I don't need to pitch you again. You're quite right. Or okay, most of the time, honestly, it's when people say, I need more time because their promo calendar is full. So it's like really being organized. I tend to pitch people at least 6 months before an event. And if anyone pitches me any less than 6 months, most of the time I have to say no because I've already planned out everything.
It's true. And that's good to hear for the listeners, because when you are just starting, that's maybe not on your radar, but the bigger and the company gets, the more time you need to kind of plan for things.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Can I ask, how big is your email list? And how big is your email list? We'll start with that.
Yeah, my email list is about 85,000 right now. So 85,000, all at various stages in their sticker making journey.
What's your biggest way of growing? You said ads, but yeah, what's the biggest way that you grow your email list?
I'm running ads most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, either to a live event. And a live event like a summit is a really good way to grow your email list for sure. So if you're running any events such as that, while you're doing the promotion, people will join your list because they're joining the event and registering for that. But it also, when we're advertising, people will see that advert and then they might check out your profile or your channel and then subscribe that way. If you've got, an opportunity for them to easily click a button and subscribe. That's been a really good way to do it. Speaking at other events too has been really good. So speaking at really related summits where I know that people who might be interested in my sticker stuff would be in that audience. What else have I done? Sponsoring events has been really good. So it might be sponsoring an event and perhaps teaching a class, or having an opportunity to be promoted on another business's email list, or maybe running a giveaway where people sign up for my email list and then it enters them into a giveaway too. So yeah, combination of probably all those things and more. But I'm always thinking about how can not just how I can grow my email list, but how I can grow my email list with the right people. So if
Yeah.
someone doesn't have an interest in stickers, of course, then they're not going to be the right person. But if you do have half an interest in stickers, and I can help you, take the first step on the journey, then I'm always thinking about how I can find ways to be able to grow the list.
I will say, oddly enough, you might not know it, but quilt pattern writers are probably interested because a lot of quilt pattern writers sell merch and a lot of them sell stickers. And
Mm.
to be able to make your own and not have to outsource that. So I'm just going to throw it out there, my listeners. And listeners, if you didn't put that together, there's an idea for you. So
I
yes.
love
What
that.
is sponsor? Yes, it is. It's a beautiful marriage there. But when you sponsor an event, what do you do? What does that look like? What does that mean?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it varies depending on whose event it is about what sponsorship packages they might have. So it could be that the person running the summit has a sponsorship package or even a variety of sponsorship packages that you can purchase, which will give you like varying access to their audience or can give their audience varying access or awareness of you and your brand. So it might be that it's simply being a sponsor where you pay a smaller fee potentially, but your name is mentioned or your logo is on certain pages or maybe in a group email where they thank the sponsors. Perhaps your business is linked onto that email too. And then it can be all the way up to you being able to sponsor like one email to that person's email list, maybe after the summit or during the summit too, as a way again to be able to raise awareness of your brand, but ideally so that it can be a way to encourage everyone who opens and reads that email to then click through to your website and join my email list too. Or it might be that I'm sponsoring a giveaway. So often I like to do giveaways of cutting machines because everyone needs at least one, if not five, mainly one. So I might be sponsoring a giveaway like that. And that can be a really fun one to do. And then anything in between. So when you think about the sponsor, it's on them to think about what opportunities can I put in front of someone like me who's going to sponsor the event that will help them get the result they're looking for. And most of the time, it's email list growth that I'm looking for and sales, So it's one or the other, and they're both really linked. So they might be promoting directly to a product that I'm selling sometimes too. But most of the time, it's to build my email list.
Yeah. Have you seen spurts of growth with your email list, or is it kind of a slow and steady burn?
It's been quite slow and steady. I have done a lot of work in the past year or so, though, to really work on making sure I've got the right people on my email list. So one thing that I found with running the free online summits is that because it's free, as we know, people will sign up for things because it's free. And then I found that a lot of those people didn't take part in the summit at all. So while I might be getting 30,000 people sign up for my free summit, I'm not getting 30,000 people who are watching each of the classes. And so for me, I don't want to build my email list because it's very expensive to have a big email list, as you'll know. But I don't want to build that list with people who are actually not that interested in what I'm doing or what my event is offering to them. And at the same time, when I'm going back to the responsibility piece of when I'm talking to speakers about taking part in my event, if I'm saying to them the last event had 30,000 people take part, I want to be confident in knowing that there's a good chance that they are all going to be people who really do take part. Now, I'm never going to get 100% of those people, of course. Even when people buy something, as we all know, we don't always log into the course or finish it. So that's a given. But at the same time, I've been working on how I can make sure that the people coming in are the right fit and at the right place to be able to then do something with this idea of making stickers. But then if it's not something that they're interested in anymore, that they don't have to stay on my list. They can go if they would like. I would love them to stay, but if they would like to go and come back at a later date, which happens all the time, then that's also good.
Mm-hmm. Who is your email provider? I'm going to guess. Do you use Kit or ConvertKit?
I don't. I use ActiveCampaign. I've never used Kit, but I've heard really great things about it. But I use ActiveCampaign and I really like the automations, which I know other people have told me they find overwhelming. I love it because of that numbers, data, everything optimization that we were talking about before. So it's overpriced, but it's really good. And when I say overpriced, I think that it could be more affordable. That said, in terms of the return on the investment I make in it, it definitely is worthwhile.
And is the deliverability good? I use Flowdesk, and while I like it, a lot of times
Yeah,
the emails pop in the spam folder. So that's hard,
right.
you know?
It is hard. So deliverability, that's something I've also been working on too. And I'm pretty good with deliverability, but I definitely have the same issues that other people have of things landing in spam and promotions and junk. Even if everything was fine and it was hitting the inbox and then all of a sudden it's going there, that can happen too. So I'm always trying to educate people when they sign up to check that and to whitelist my email and drag my email from promotions. And but I get
Mm-hmm.
hit with that, yeah, as much as anyone does. But overall, I haven't had a challenge with them with that.
Okay, nice. So, going to the Secret Sticker Society, can you share what that cost is? Okay, because I did notice Alex recommended that you only have a yearly, not monthly, quarterly, or whatever. So, have you implemented that? And if so, has it changed the income?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So my membership has always been had a monthly and an annual option. And what I was finding is that, I mean, it's really low ticket. So I charge right now, it's 27 US dollars a month or 270 US dollars per year. So I wanted it to be a price that is affordable, that does feel a bit of a no brainer. And in terms of what my members get, we absolutely over deliver. We're constantly told that we're not charging enough from our members. Obviously, I'm sure they're like, but don't raise your prices. But
Right,
I,
right.
I want it to be a space that is accessible for as many people as possible. At the same time, we are a business and we need to make profit too, especially because I do spend a lot of time and money and resources on being able to attract new members and grow and maintain my email list. When we've spoken about advertising and sponsorships, and that's only really the beginning of what the business spends to be able to deliver everything that we do. So Alex's advice to move to an annual only offer is something that I did implement partly. So at the time that I had that call with him, I was in the middle of a launch and I already had monthly and annual available. But I worked out a really amazing annual bonus package where so right now, if you pay monthly, it's 27. If you pay annually, it's 270. So essentially you're getting 2 months free, a 2 month discount if you join annually.
Nice.
But you also get a huge bonus package, which is genuinely worth over $2,000 with all of the different digital art, templates, more resources, access to resources in advance, event tickets, VIP event tickets. When you add everything up together over the year, it really is a no-brainer to join annually, and that's what I wanted it to be. And that isn't in any way to punish monthly members. I still think there is absolutely a place where people, whether it works better for their budget or whether they're still kind of testing the waters with stickers and they want to see if it's for them, they can still right now join monthly. I don't know whether that will always be the case, but as of today, that you still can. And then if you want to upgrade to annual later, you can. And then if there are bonuses available, then you get them. So it's really helped to refocus to make the annual offer as rewarding as it can be, because I want people to join and feel like they've got everything that they need, and to know that every month it isn't just about getting more stuff, but it's about helping them, get new ideas to maintain the new hobby that they're really excited about, to keep the momentum going, to have encouragement and community support, to really just get new inspiration and resources and everything they need to make stickers every day, but at least every month all year round.
So that sticker, the Secret Sticker Society, is more for, would you say, the business side, people who are doing it as a business?
It isn't. I do have people in there who want to make this a business. So it might be that they already have a small sticker shop and they want really just inspiration to find more resources for that. Or maybe they want me to look at their shop and audit it and give them recommendations. Or it might be that they have an idea that they might want to create some income in the future, particularly if they're thinking about either a side hustle or maybe when they retire, maybe having something to bring in some income then. It could be that they want to make only enough to be able to cover their own crafting hobby or their own sticker making supplies, or maybe they want to make more, so I do have a good percentage of people who, if they're not already selling stickers, they think they might want to in the future. But I'd say the vast majority of my members are making stickers for themselves and for their family. But that isn't to say that they might want to sell in the future. So yeah, quite a mix.
Okay. And that's your biggest piece of the revenue pie, would you say, is the secret
Yes,
sticker
it is.
society?
Secret sticker. I know so
Okay.
many S's, and I had braces a couple of years ago, so I really struggle with my S's now.
I did. When I got my teeth realigned, it did change the way that I speak a bit, actually, now that you mention it.
Oh,
But
yeah, it's changed me a lot. I feel like everything has an S at the beginning and the end now, but here we are.
Yes. Okay. There's this advice out there, and I'm so curious to hear what your thoughts are on it. The idea is you pick one product and you focus on selling that one product until you're earning $1 million a year. Give me your thoughts on that.
Totally. I think it's great advice for sure. And me focusing on stickers and me focusing mainly on Secret Sticker Society definitely had helped me get to that point for sure. But it isn't like when I first got started 10 years ago, I had that, It really did take some trial and testing and optimizing and releasing products that didn't do as well as I hoped they would to get to that point. But I did, like I alluded to before, I did find that doing too much and running after all of the shiny squirrels and trying to, it became almost like if I could make something, I would. And the problem with that is that product creation is really fun, really great for like dopamine. And at the same time, for me, it's quite quick to be able to create products too, because I've done it for such a long time. But product creation is only maybe 20% of what it takes to actually successfully sell that product. And the other 80%, sometimes more, is promotion. So if we've got 80% of our time is promoting something every day or every week, it definitely is much better to be promoting fewer things or one thing rather than trying to promote 10 things. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't have more than one product. I've got more than one, and I'm sure I'll create new products in the future too. But my promotion goal is always to really focus on how can we bring more people who are the right fit for Secret Sticker Society. So my reply would be, yes, it's great advice. But from day one, that can be a challenge, especially when you don't really know, is this product I've got or the idea I've got for it, is that the one, So we've got to do some testing at that point to actually find out and refine it. And whatever product you start with is never the one that you finish with. It's some kind of iteration on that for sure, but it's never exactly the same. I also really believe that nothing is ever wasted too. There are a few products that I've created, I don't know whether you've been here, and I've thought, that's it. That is the life-changing, craft world-changing $1 million product. That's it. I've nailed it. My audience is going to love this. This is going to be the best. I feel so confident in my promotion that I know that promotion-wise, it'll be good. And then it just doesn't, and I've tried and figure it out and I try and optimize, and at the end I just have to put it back on the shelf. But no, it'll come back off the shelf at some point. There are so many times where that's happened, and then later on it's be like that product, that mini course or whatever it was, has ended up being either a front-facing product, but now it's the right time for it, or maybe it's become a part of something else, or a bonus, or an upsell, or a class, or maybe I've turned it into something that I can use now to speak at someone's summit, or so many different ways. So nothing's ever wasted. And then, as you were saying before, quite rightly, about the not having the emotional response to numbers and things that don't go the way we want. When you take that away, you just have that mental clarity then to be able to pop it on the shelf. Yes, it hurts. Let's not pretend otherwise, but then be able to remember it's there and bring it back if there's an opportunity later on.
And there always has been. I'm trying to say, I don't want to give like absolutes, but literally I've never been sad that I've had an extra product to share at some point, whether it's an opt-in or whatever, I've never been.
Completely.
In fact, I'm usually like, man, I wish I had more, so.
Yeah, totally. It's so true though. It's so funny now how I laugh. I mean, one of my products that I remember thinking like, this is really it. I know I've said it before, but this is it this time. It was not it. But it did become one of my top selling products as an upsell 2 years later, and it still would sell now. I took it away because I replaced it with something that was a much better fit. But at the time, I remember thinking, that's crazy. If I've got all up in my emotions so much that I just abandoned that altogether, might not have brought it back. I might have been too scared that what's the point in bringing it back? It failed before, in quotes, so it will fail again. So yeah, definitely helps to have to work on losing that emotional attachment to the numbers for sure.
Yes, definitely. So, okay, if you were to just think of someone who's a creative, they want to start their creative business or grow it, what would be your just number one advice that you would give somebody?
Oh, that's a really good question. That's a big question too. I think the biggest thing would be to not be afraid, or to be afraid. I don't really like the whole feel the fear and do it anyway, but it's somewhat related to that. To try not to be too afraid to actually make a move with these things. And there was a phrase that I heard on a TV show the other day, and it was, if you're not on your way, you're in your way. I hope I didn't butcher that. If you're not on your way, you're in your way.
Mm,
In terms of if you have a goal for your business and you're not achieving it yet, it's probably something that you're doing or not doing to get to that goal. So it might be that, we're sitting in fear and we just don't even want to send that email or ask that person or release that product or put our first advert live or list the thing on Etsy, or maybe we're too scared to even look at the numbers to see how things are doing and to dig into why, because it all feels overwhelming. So whatever it is that you think might be in your way right now, try and find a way to just take the step to move past it, because as soon as you do, it becomes so much easier to then keep on going with something. So that is really one of the biggest things, which I know is a bit general, but at the same time, if I think back to the very, very first course that I put together, I labored over that course for months and months, making it, in quotes, perfect, gathering more information, the whole getting ready to get ready. And if I'd have known then that the course that would finally be the big seller would not look anything like that one, it would be like 100 iterations on that one. I would have just got to the point of, this is enough now. Now let's release it to the world and actually move into that promotion stage and then get feedback on it. So feedback in terms of actual student feedback, or feedback in terms of the data. Are people buying it? If they're not, why not? What's happening here? How can I then make changes and move forward? I would have saved myself heartache, but I also would have not only made more sales, but helped more people who wanted to make stickers, which is the whole point of all of this.
mhm.
So whether it's a course or a digital product like that, or whether it's your Etsy shop, until you actually get things out into the world, you can't get that information and data back to be able to make changes to improve things. So if there's something if anyone's listening and they've been sitting on an idea or haven't pressed publish or have been too nervous to look at numbers, then maybe today's the day to just do that and get it done, and know that then you can use that to make improvements and it becomes easier. And just as you said before, it then becomes a fun game.
Absolutely. I will ask one last question, all right? And
Mm.
then we'll make sure the listeners know where to find you. But I I know, because you've been around, sometimes you get negative feedback. I think one of the biggest fears, I'm listening through a listener's mind as you say that, just hit publish. I can hear the fears of, but what if people don't like it? What if somebody, I don't know, fill in the, what if someone is upset or thinks it's bad? How do you handle that negativity?
That's a great question. And that's something else that's gotten easier to deal with over time. But I'm not someone who is devoid of emotion altogether. When it comes to numbers, I still have some emotions to them too, but certainly in my real life, I'm quite an emotional person. I do take things personally. However, with things like comments on, negative emails, comments on ads, because the more you advertise, the more you will have people who don't just scroll by if they see something that they've decided offends them. They will let you know about it in the hope, I think, that the whole world will read their comment. It's so funny. And like 99.99% of the time, it's really easy to see that what they're saying simply is not true. This isn't a comment where it's, oh, your website's down, that's frustrating. That's like the other like milli%. It's more for some reason they've seen something and it isn't for them, so they've decided they really have to say something mean or hateful. Honestly, some of the emails I've received over the years, and it's only a small handful, but I swear, and I don't even swear that much. People can be very angry, and they will let you know with curse words and in capital letters how very frustrated and angry they are. So one point is that I just assume, because I know that what they're saying isn't true, I assume they're having a really bad time right now. And while I sympathize with them, I'm not going to take that on because there isn't any need for me to take it on. So I either ignore it altogether, or I'll, try and resolve a situation. Obviously, I'll always try and resolve a situation if it's something that we have played any part in at all. But for the people who get hate comments, and just know that it's because you're on your way. So you are on your way and not in your way. And it is really part of the cost of doing business in some way. At the same time, I never would dismiss those comments or emails as it's a them problem and not me. If there's something that I can learn from, I always will do that. At the same time, I'm not going to take on somebody else's anger or frustration when it isn't merited.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'll just reply with the sideways laughing emoji, and that makes my day.
I actually really love that because you've touched on a few things. Sometimes, while the delivery could be improved upon, sometimes there is some truth to what they say. As painful as it
Mm,
is, it's like, oh my gosh, you're right. That funnel wasn't set up properly. You didn't get the deliverable or whatever it might be. You have to like, thank you so much for pointing that out. But then it does take some practice to learn to sift out what merits giving time to and what merits like not, but yeah.
completely. And as with anything, the more you get, the more you'll be able to do that, I mean, in terms of like troll comments I get now, the ones that I get mostly, it's things like, why I don't need to buy this. I can get this for free on YouTube, which everyone can get everything for free on YouTube, as we know. But the point is that most people don't want to, or hasn't worked for them. But I just reply saying, no, this isn't on YouTube. Like an
Right.
innocent comment back. No, this is definitely not on YouTube. There are times, like you say, when if you listen to the feedback, there is an element of truth in there. And sometimes I think if I'm having an emotional response now, then I pay attention to it, because now I haven't become robotic, but I have become way more attuned, as you said, to really sift easily and quickly through what to pay attention to and what not to. And if there's something that is hitting me, it might be because there's something in it. So, I take a moment to think about it, first of all. But it is part of the price of running a business. We can't be for everyone, and everyone isn't for us. And we also don't have to take on every new customer and every new member either, which I know is difficult to probably think about when you're in the early stages, when we just want to have success. But there are, a few times where I will say to someone, I'm not for you. You're not for me. And I appreciate back that I'm probably not for you either, and we're just not aligned. But yeah, the vast majority of the time, it's just frustrated people who like to cause a stir on Facebook.
Yes, like to be seen. Well, this has been such a fun conversation. I just am absolutely so impressed with the business that you have started and grown. So for our listeners, if they want to learn more, where's the best place to find you?
Oh, thank you. I've loved talking to you. I could talk to you all day, and this has been so fun. And there are two places that I can be found. So for anyone who might be interested in making their own stickers, of course, Secret Sticker Society is the place to come and find us and learn more. Or you can find me on Instagram at Mim Jenkinson too. Feel free to send me a DM with any questions about making stickers, because I just think everyone should make stickers, and I want to spread the sticker making joy to every human on the planet, not just the crafters. And then for anyone who is looking for any support with their online business, I also have a really fabulous and small intimate group called Unstuck, which is a bit of a play on the whole sticker theme, but they are non-sticker related. They are creatives and others in the online business space who just want more support with their online business from me. So maybe it's something that they see me doing and they want to have the same results or similar, or given that I've been doing this for 10 years and I've been in business coaching for quite a number of those years too, it's a place that I can actually spread some of that support too. So either of those two places, but feel free to send me an Instagram DM and say hello.
Awesome. Yes, listeners, go check it out. I know I will be. And Mim, thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much for this. Thank you.
All right, what did you guys think? Was that awesome or was that awesome? So, a couple of things that really stood out to me. One, answering a need. People were asking for a certain thing, and Mim answered that. Not creating a problem or guessing what people want, but actually having questions asked and solving a real problem. That is something I notice over and over again with successful businesses. Number 2, looking at the numbers. I cannot help but notice the businesses that I study, that I watch who have success, they know the data. They look at the numbers. It's not a guess. And when it is a guess, people are like scrambling, thinking like, I should probably get more followers on Instagram. I guess I should post about it. It's a guess. They don't know what to do to get sales. But when you keep track of your numbers, you know exactly what to do. So that is success clue number 2. Number 3, learning. Mim is a constant student. She goes to people who are ahead of where she is in her business, and she learns from them. And they sometimes open up possibilities she didn't know were there. Other times just point her in a direction that maybe she did know was there, but just was like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do that. So learning. Those are my big takeaways from this podcast with Mim. I would love to know what your takeaways are. So go ahead and leave a review. You can write this in the comments in the review section of the podcast. And then there's a 1 through 5 star. Just go ahead. It's as easy as tapping on whichever rating you want to give the podcast. And by doing that, we are able to get more great listeners onto the Craft to Career podcast so that you can enjoy and learn from them. It also helps other entrepreneurs to find this podcast. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you loved hearing from Mim just as much as I did. And we will see you back here with a brand new episode of the Craft to Career podcast.